If we start by the regulation, we are going to limit innovation. AI is going to be embedded almost everywhere, like every single product, every single like service, every single interaction, and many different jobs. It's not going to be that they will be eliminated, but it will be transformed. We are going to need different kinds of professionals. I think it's a problem if you don't know how to use AI. People will need to understand how to use different models for different purposes, how to talk to these models, how to get the info that you want from these models. Sooner than later, everyone is going to use it.
So for people who don't know you, can you maybe tell us a little bit about your background story? You have a very strong presence on LinkedIn. You create content almost daily. You have 50K followers. Just give us a little glimpse into how you arrived to this position at the moment.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm computer scientist. I've been coding for few years in my career, but mainly then I was, like focused on, business positions, strategy positions. I've been working on data and AI, more data in the past, more AI right now for the last 7 8 years. First, I was at Vodafone leading the data monetization team. I was building the ML platform worldwide. 2 years and a half ago, I joined AWS. I'm working as a go-to-market lead for AI across EMEA, more Gen AI than AI right now, but this is also part of the business. Working mainly with customers around the world, enterprise, public sector, startups, ISVs, almost every kind of customer, right? Helping them how to scale, adopt, leverage AI, and yeah, working. It could be like also working, writing a lot on LinkedIn, but sometimes I don't see if there is a huge difference. But yeah, creating content almost daily, being or having a lot of fun with many people around the world. I started actually almost a year ago. It was not like on my plans to to build this kind of community and so on. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm meeting a lot of people. I'm learning a lot. If I have time in the future, I will try to keep doing it. At least for
Mm-hmm.
now. But yeah.
So a year ago, you started posting on LinkedIn or what?
So yeah,
Wow.
a year
Impressive,
ago.
impressive
Yeah,
growth as well. Yeah, well
a
done.
year
Nice.
ago. Actually, I started by the end of December last year, and as I said, it was not planned. It was like, hey, I'm going to start, posting stuff. But yeah, maybe I need to change roles and trying to be like an advisor on how to grow your LinkedIn profile. But yeah,
Yeah,
this is
like
another part of the
a lot of
story.
people are struggling with the LinkedIn. I mean, it's not easy to get 50K
Yeah,
plus followers. So congratulations. That's also
on
a
the job
big
training, on the
accomplishment.
job training. I don't recommend to follow any kind of course. Stupid examples on the internet is just, as soon as you use it more, the reality is like, as soon as you use it more, you engage more with the people, you see the kind of content that it works, that it doesn't work. Try to don't copy each other stuff because that's not natural, right? And you get more insights about what is working better, what is working worse, and you learn from your experience and you keep growing. So that's my unique advice, to be honest.
Definitely, yeah. And the thing that I really like about your content, it's they are very funny. Like I can see that you're putting your personality with the posts. I'm not sure if you create everything like manually because I don't know where you're finding all these images where you're making some really funny AI references, and they are very very interesting.
90%, 95% I created. Of course, sometimes I take some stuff from the internet, but 95% I created. Every morning I'm getting up so early in the morning to go for a run, right? Like 5 a.m. every day. So this time that I'm running in the middle of nowhere, so it's 60 minutes to think about, okay, what I'm going to post today. So just, the things and the ideas, they come to me. I have, full of notes on my iPhone about, okay, I'm going to post about this, and this. And to be honest, the people, and this is something that I found as well on LinkedIn, right? Because you have a lot of kind of different content, like more educational, more funny content about business, strategy, whatever, but people wants to have fun. That's the rule number one. So if you're asking me what it usually works better, like educational stuff or funny stuff, no doubt. I mean, this is the kind of things that they are getting viral all the time. Because at the end of the day, as I said, everyone wants to have some fun, wants to
Exactly.
laugh. So yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, people want to be entertained. I mean, there's like a rule of thumb that if you're creating engaging content, should be like maybe 9 fact-based educational, and then like at least one funny and one personal or
Yeah.
whatever. Like this is like the kind of the
I'm doing on the other
ultimate
way.
rule of
That's my
content creation.
problem.
9 funny, one educational, and
So I'm losing credibility, right? Like sometimes I need to start like, hey, yeah, I have a, like a computer science degree. I've been working as a data scientist. I'm working at AWS because otherwise they're going to think like I'm like a clown. And the other problem is like sometimes when I'm posting real stuff, like, hey, this is serious. It's not a joke. Even people they don't know, it's like it's real, it's not real. Sometimes I'm getting messages, like private messages like, hey Eduardo, congrats, but I'm not sure. It's like, is that real or is not? And it's like, yeah, this is real. So I don't care, to be honest. I don't care.
uh-huh. What kind of example people thought this is not real? Something
Well,
would
I
be
mean, like a couple of weeks ago, I got a message from like a guy here in Spain. Like he was congratulating me because I was like part of the top 10 of like most top influencer in Spain. But like general stuff, not in AI, like like general influencers in Spain, right? I didn't have any idea about it, so I went to the website, I checked it, it was real, and then I posted. And many people were asking me, like, hey, this is like the other joke that you said. And it was like, no, no, this time it's real, it's not a joke. So this is what I mean, right? And also, I shared something, like funny yesterday about, like the reopening of the Notre Dame Cathedral. So you can check it's on LinkedIn, it's a joke, right? But like it was about like a ceremony with the priests and so on. And they thought that it was what I did, it was like a real marketing campaign about Microsoft, that actually it's not. And I heard a couple of comments from people that felt a bit offended, and I'm sorry about that because it was a joke, right? But that's why, like, if you don't, I mean, like, when you already know me, you know how I am, like, like, I try to have fun, so on. I try to be serious when I have to be serious, but, like, it's funny because sometimes, like, the line between, like, being serious and being not serious, and especially when you are a bit sarcastic, so sometimes the difference is a bit complicated.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. Especially when you enter into the religion area, some people might get
Yeah, I
triggered
know
or
that. I
whatever.
know
So
that.
yeah, so it feels like you're struggling like a stand-up comedian. Seems like same issues a stand-up comedian might face.
Yeah, maybe
Um,
maybe it's a frustration when I was child that I was trying to pretend to be one of these, but not really.
mhm. But very fascinating. I really enjoy your content. So, or you're doing something right. People seems to be really enjoying it as well. Otherwise, they won't follow you. So you're doing something good. Well done.
Thanks, man.
Regarding the other aspect, so like the more, I know you have massive expertise in AI, and as you said, you're meeting so many startups, big corporates. Can you maybe give us a glimpse? Like, what do you usually talk about? Like, let's say, I don't know, some big corporate want to adopt AI, for example. Would they like phone you up and you would show up and explain what needs to be done, or how can we imagine this process happening?
Yeah, I mean, like, there is a bit of everything, right? And like, I work at AWS, so we are like a big company, and I'm just, like, involved with some customers, right? We have like many of them. But yeah, I pretty much work like that, right? Like, customers, they calling us, they need support on, hey, everyone right now is doing Gen AI. We know about LLMs, we know about this fancy stuff. How do you recommend to approach this challenge? Which kind of services do you have? Why it's better to go through AWS instead of going through Microsoft? Which are the, like, trends for the next year? So it's pretty much, like, the same discussion. Of course, it depends the level of maturity of the customers. Also very important based on where they are, like, located, right? Probably, like, in the US, they are, like, more mature by far. If you come to Europe, the situation is quite different. Maybe UK, they are like in a different, like, situation, but like countries like Spain, Italy, or even, like Germany, we are, like a bit, yeah, a bit behind, right? So you need to adapt what, like, what is the situation of every single customer. But even the discussions many times not about AI. I mean, like, AI is great, and right now everyone talks about AI. They want to, like, put this press release saying like company X is, like, investing this huge amount of money on AI. Right now we are more productive. We are serving better our customers. So that part, it's great. It's super cool. But the problem is like one, like, or they need to take one step back, and it's like, hey, what are you doing regarding to data, right? Because I mean, like trying to leverage AI with not or without a solid data strategy, data foundations, I think it's pretty complicated. I mean, you can build the stuff, you can build a chatbot, and probably it's going to work. Even it will work in production, but eventually you won't be able to scale, right? So most of the times, the conversation, yeah, it usually starts by the fancy stuff, but then we need to take like like a more solid approach and see like, okay, how we can help this customer, what kind of things they're going to need, and even sometimes it's also about like people, hiring, skills. It's not even about the technology, right? It's about having the right people in the right place to build the right stuff. So this is what it's happening most of the time. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting because part of our job is to consult people to exactly kind of assess the AI readiness. And what we always find out, especially with these new technologies, people get so excited and they want to like add it. And I know this from my company that there was like, okay, we heard this AI exists. We need to now integrate it into our products. And we have like AI departments, it's not like we don't. I mean, it's called data science, but it's still kind of the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah, but it's
And
still the same thing. Yeah.
uh-huh. The first thing you notice is like, okay, when you enter these discussions, you need to, so many different steps needs to be evaluated, whether it's the data, whether it's like the infrastructure. Usually the most problems we see is the quality of the data doesn't support the use case that people want. As you said, yeah, you can build a chatbot that do something fancy, but are you really extracting, are you making money out of your buck? Or is it just basically a fancy wrapper to do the same thing and it's costing you money? So it's always this discussion, like find a really good use case and then use whatever fancy tool you want to use, but don't just use AI for everything. Was this also your experience to in the education of like the stakeholders and the businesses?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same. Of course, there are, like nuances and different levels of maturity. And I've met, like people building like really great stuff. Of course, most of the folks here in Europe, they are starting more from, like internal use cases. Like, yeah, the chatbot, it's fine as a, like as an experiment or, to get familiarized with LLMs, how they react, how they answer, how to put some limits or barriers, right? But they usually start by like internal use cases where like at least they have control over like their responses and so on. And right now they are like more in that point about okay, I have this, I know it works, better or worse, but it works, right? So I need to translate this into business value. I just said, okay, I'm like having more customers because of that. I'm improving the customer experience. I'm being more productive. I'm being more like whatever. So it's not always like a straightforward to translate like accuracy metrics of AI into business metrics, right? So I think they're facing the challenge, and probably the other aspect is also about cost, right? Like maybe the services they are not like they're not like super cheap, so they need to evaluate how like they can scale, how this is going like to work in a production environment when it's not like like 50 or 100 folks making queries to an LLM, but like thousand of hundreds of customers making queries to LLM. So I think right now they are like more in this situation. But again, I think eventually most of the customers they are moving there. Of course, like different maturities, different like paces. But I mean, like I'm fully convinced that probably in a year or even like before that, most of the customers they are going to be there because I mean, like they have to be there. In the past, like we know AI ML could help to be more productive, but still, like the traditional, like business ways of doing things that, like they were, like before, like AI, right? But right now with AI, it's like if you have a team of 100 sellers, probably you don't need a team of 100 sellers anymore. You need a team of 50 sellers being held by AI, so to boost productivity. So the thing is not even about selling more; it's about like being more competitive. Because if you can do the same thing with the half of the people, you may have like better prices. You need to know how your competitors are going to do things, and this is going to happen. I mean, like this is not going to happen. This is happening already, right? The way we write code, the way we talk to customers, the way we create new stuff you don't need to do it in the same way we used to do it in the past, right? And it applies to almost every kind of sector. Like, for example, I was discussing with some friends a couple of days ago about, like the media business. So media business is going to be transformed sooner than later. And probably the way that we consume, for example, content on these streaming platforms like Netflix, HBO, or whatever, it's going to be different in the future. Maybe I'm seeing like Game of Thrones, and I will say like, okay, I don't like the end because actually I didn't like the end of Game of Thrones, right? And I'm going to say like, okay, I want to have, like some people coming from the space, they are going to whatever. And you can, do this text to video, and you are going to change the way you consume video, right? So it's not going to be replaced, but it's going to be transformed in many different ways. So when somebody's telling me like, hey, I don't think, like this is going to affect my business. Maybe you have like a very traditional business. Maybe let's say you have like a bakery, right? Yeah, still you need to make the bread. Maybe it's not a humanoid making the bread for you in the short term. Maybe eventually in the long term. But I mean, like how you reach to your customers, how you try to be like omni-channel to reach customers through many different ways. How you use AI to enhance your product. So AI is going to be everywhere, different ways of consuming it. So when they say to me like this is not going to affect my business, I think they have a problem because like sooner than later they will have a competitive disadvantage with the competitor that it was doing the right way. So this is here already, it's transforming business, and this is going just to be like more and more exponential over the next few years, to be honest.
Hmm. I absolutely agree. And to be honest, I never thought about this. So right now, you just opened my mind to a possibility where movies are not so passive. If you think about it, the way we watch movies is super passive, and you just watch whatever the creators decided to watch. But today, actually, the Sora was released. I just saw now on LinkedIn. So the text to video prompting is already there. The technology is there. I still haven't tested it. I remember we saw maybe a year ago the results were absolutely terrible. But if you look, for example, at Hygiene, I posted like a video of this AI character that just talks, all AI generated, talks and sounds. Okay, it sounds funny. It doesn't sound like a real human, but the lips are synced with the actual words. The hands are synced with the words. Like it's mind blowing. And if you don't tell people this is AI, they sense something is funny just because the voice sounds weird. But if that is solved, it's gonna be yeah, we're heading towards something that is really, really interesting. And I like that. I like that you mentioned the bakery example because right now I've been talking to some startups who are exactly building products, for example, for performance marketing. So maybe you as a bakery, you don't need AI, but you need to reach your audience, which is majority is online. And if you jump on this ads generation plus some AI generated ads, it's already helping a lot of small businesses. And you don't need to be an expert, but you can maybe hire somebody or a marketing agency or whatever that can generate this for you and then generate you more leads. And it's very obvious. People who have presence on Instagram, for example, as a bakery or any other small business, whether it's trips to Dubai or whatever business you have, they get way more clients because the clients are basically online. So I do agree, it's touching everybody, and people just need to be open minded about it and just use it rather than just be afraid of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is scary though, what you said. Now 50
Well,
sales
not
people
really. I
with
mean, like,
AI.
we've gone through this in the past already, right? I mean, like, it's not nothing new. I remember, like, I was doing a presentation like a year ago. I don't remember when it was, right? But I got this slide that it was talking about it. It was made by a candle company in the past that like they were super scared about like electricity. So for them, like the lights for the candle company, the lights, it was like the evil, right? So they had this kind of image about like the evil is coming. This is going to destroy humanity. We need to rely on candles because it's much better. So I mean, like right now, we look into that and it means like, yeah, it's stupid, right? So we are living in a digital era, internet, smartphones, but like it happened in the past again with like different sectors, agriculture and so on, and it will still happening. I mean, like probably in the future we don't have to drive cars anymore. So what is going to happen with all the companies right now that they are responsible for teaching people to drive a car? Yeah, I'm so sorry for them, but maybe they need to transform their business, right? So this is happening all the time. Adapt or die, and that's the reality. I mean, like we are not expecting to live that we used to live 5,000 years ago. We are evolving. It's not that it's going to be better. Sometimes we are evolving in the not right way, but it's kind of like evolution. I mean, like as part of the evolution, we evolve. and we just change things, right? You can always go to the middle of the forest and live like like we used to do in the past. It's part of our society. It will happen, yeah.
Hmm. Maybe a little philosophical here, but since these LLM models are being trained on, like, let's say, a lot of text that human generated, mainly maybe on social media, which contains a lot of weird stuff, do you think this might be a problem for us in the future?
Well, for sure, it's a problem. I mean, like any new technology, any new disruption, it will come with like a risk associated to it, right? So at the end of the day, it depends how we use this technology. Fire is good, yeah. Fire is good because like when using fire, we were able like to cook stuff, to give some light, to give or to be warmer. But it can be super dangerous at the same time, right? So with AI, it's the same thing. I mean, like it can like enhance customer experience. We can be more productive. We can create a lot of many different things. We can do much more with less amount of time, right? But at the same time, like it can generate things that like we don't know if this is human generated or it's AI generated, and can create like a fake content, or we don't have in control about 100% of the things that like these LLMs they are like saying, right? So of course there are some risks that like we need to take care of them. If it's about regulation, if it's about different tooling, if it's about different practices, I'm like quite agree that we need to regulate in some manner, but it's the same to any other technology. I mean, like always new stuff come with, like some kind of risk, and we need to manage. The problem is like, like technology always come first, right? So first is the technology, then is the regulation. If we are, and I think it's right, okay? Because if we start by the regulation, we are going to limit innovation. At least that's my understanding, and this is how I see things, right? As soon as you regulate too much, you will limit the innovation of the things.
Hmm. And the thing is, you're not stopping the whole world from doing it. Like, it's just going to be locally that you're way far behind all the other countries. We witnessed this in Germany, for example. So I'm based in Berlin, as I told you, and there, Germany or the whole EU in general have a very strict data protection laws and all this kind of stuff. And today, actually, I wanted to build a chatbot that is connected to recommender systems. So I build recommender systems at work. And what I would love, and we have different use cases. For example, having alternatives, having personalized products, having frequently bought together. So different use cases. And it would be nice to have like a multi-agent situation or solution that connect all these into one wrapper. So you just talk to one front end basically and have all these functionalities. But now I started facing these questions whether, like, oh, am I allowed to connect Gemini from GCP to our databases? Am I allowed to use this? Am I allowed to do that? And already, like, now I'm feeling like maybe I shouldn't even do this. Like, it's just so much headache. I don't even want to go into that. And I know, for example, in the US it's way easier. Like, it's, what is your insights about this? Like, is there actually a massive difference between US and Europe regarding
Yeah,
AI adoption?
I think there is a huge difference. I mean, like if you ask me about adoption, there is a huge difference. I mean, like I'm seeing this with our customers at AWS, right? That the adoption pace in the US and the kind of like projects they are building there, how they are in production, how they are running at the scale. If I compare with like customers in Europe, there is a huge difference. Yeah, we're still building many stuff here, but we're still in that phase like, hey, we need to productionize, we need to see how this is going to perform, we need to analyze many different patterns. I think in the US is like, okay, we need to build this, let's build it, let's try it, and let's put it into production. And yeah, we will collect feedback over the time, right? So it's like more on the job training. So it's like, I'm doing stuff, I'm learning from my mistakes and learning from my experience, but I keep doing. Here is like, okay, I do stuff, I test it again, I test it, I evaluate with compliance, with risk, with HR, I test it again. And just at the very, very, very end, I say like, okay, maybe it can go into production. So that's why, like our learning curve is much, much longer. So there is an important difference between, like customers here in Europe to customers in the US, right? So but I mean, like, it's also part of the culture, right? I'm not saying this is good or bad. It's different ways of doing things. I think to be, like, or to take some, like, considerations before you, like, deploying all this stuff, I think it's good because you avoid many different mistakes. But at the same time, when you are entering a field that is still is very unknown. I mean, like you are still doing a lot of research. You cannot expect to play with all the cards on the table. You don't know if it's going to be, like king or queen. So you need to make sure that like as soon as you are playing, you will get some learners, right? So it's very different ways of doing stuff. But yeah, I mean, like adoption pace in the US is much higher than here. And I don't think it's because you like of the people. I mean, like I've met like amazing folks here in Europe right now. For example, France. I think it's a good example of like of research startups. We have examples like Mistral, Hugging Face, AIDS, Poolside, that they are like startups that they are doing it brilliant, to be honest. But still, many folks, I know like many people is even like moving into the US because there they have more options and it's like easier for them to do research, to invest, the startup ecosystems, venture capitals. But it's happening all the time. It's happening all the time.
Mhm. Yeah, it seems to be the culture there is it's way easier to get funding. For example, I know now from a lot of friends who are starting startups. It is the funding is getting difficult in Europe at the moment in the startup space, and you now need to somehow add AI to any product to get funding. So it is limiting the innovation, or maybe just forcing the wrong kind of innovation. Like if you have a great idea that doesn't involve AI, you don't need to just add an AI feature just to make some investors happy. So that's I see this also as a negative thing. Do you think we're in a bubble? Is that something you're concerned about? An AI bubble?
I don't think there is a bubble, or at least I don't think there is a bubble as the concept of like AI bubble that it happened in the past with the .com or even with construction, right? So what I think is there is still a lot of hype. That is a different story. I mean, like all this AI is like giving a lot of like a business value. It's helping professionals to be more productive. If you're asking me about the benefits of AI, I already proved there are like much more benefits than no benefits, right? So I mean, like there is not a bubble. If you're asking me, does it make sense to have like 10 model producers doing exactly the same thing? Maybe it doesn't make sense. I don't think we need to have like 10 big companies spending huge amount of money on GPUs to train exactly or pretty much the same models, right? Because there is not a huge difference. At the end of the day, there is not a huge difference, right? So if you're asking me about that, it makes sense to have like 100 startups doing exactly the same thing. Maybe it doesn't make sense, right? But I don't think it's a bubble. I think it's like a business that right now like there is a lot of hype. Everyone wants to work on that, and it happened in the past. So what I think is going to be like being consolidated in the coming years. So we'll see like many startups that they will go bankrupt or they will be acquired by other companies. We will see like model providers being merged into only one. This is part of any like transformation of any new business that is as soon as it's getting mature, it's being consolidated. You will have like a different line of business for different sides of AI. But I don't think it's a bubble. The bubble is when like you are building some stuff that is not providing any value, right? So this is where you have a bubble. Here, I think the value it's obvious, right? And it's there. And I'm seeing like every day working with customers, even talking to friends, right? But the thing is like it's going to eventually it's going to transform into something more mature, and that means like like many startups, companies will die, and like but it's not going to be like like it's a bubble exploiting. But the same thing with Nvidia, right? Do you think it makes sense, like to sell GPUs worldwide to many companies that they are doing the same thing? But so what I think is like probably Nvidia is not going to keep growing as it's growing right now, right? Or maybe yes, because we find like new architectures that it requires more amount of compute and so on. But again, it's not a bubble. It's just like an evolution of like business.
Hmm. No, definitely. And I like that you are in the forefront of this and seeing people actually using it to extract value. So that's something really nice because usually what you see online is like a lot of POCs, a lot of which is really awesome. They show like a very promising results, but the moment you go into production or you try to apply this to like a massive amount of people, you run into the same problems any data science solution run into, where like you need to gather some representative data, have a robust solution, have a secure solution. Right now, a lot of people talking about security. I had an episode with a CEO of prompt security telling me about all the ways that you can hack an LLM application, and it freaked me out. I was like, okay, keep them internal facing, like don't put them on the outside, because there's a lot of ways that this could go wrong. But talking about values, like what did you actually see LLM applications that were really valuable? Like in what areas is it now manifesting?
Of course, there are like many different use cases, and every new company I talk to, they come up with a super innovative new approach to solve a specific business problem. Like like it's very specific to their domain. So I mean, like in terms of use cases, I think the good thing is for the companies, they really know how to identify the use case and how to address the problem. Like, hey, okay, maybe AI can help to address this business challenge. So that's good because at least they know that AI in some manner can and help with that, right? So I don't think we have a problem about number of use cases. We have plenty of use cases. We need to prioritize. But if you're asking me about like the top use cases, so something that I'm seeing, like, and this is where like at the end of the day, maybe it's not the coolest thing, but the reality is like it provides more value, right? So every company has developers, and that's a reality. If you go to any single company, they have different kind of developers, but any company they have developers and they're writing software, right? So, and I've been a developer in the past, right? I'm computer scientist. Even like I work eventually as a data scientist. I was not very good at that, to be honest. But the thing is, like, if I remember the way that I was writing code in the past, and I check it, how can I do it right now? It's completely different, right? You can use LLM to prompt for new code, to evaluate it, test it, and eventually to deploy it, right? So this is what I say, like, I can do much more with less amount of time. So you can boost employee productivity, or in this case, like a software developer productivity by this kind of tools. And I'm not talking about like LLMs just generating code, right? At the end of the day, developers maybe spend like 15-20% of their time writing code. But it's about like documenting the code. It's about like running integration testing, end-to-end testing, stress testing, how to integrate it from the different parts, how to deploy the software, how to maintain it in production. So I think for that, Gen AI is super helpful. So for me, this is one of the top use cases. And many companies, AWS, Google, Microsoft, they have already shared, with stakeholders like, hey, right now we are increasing our productivity by X percentage, right? So this is use case number one for me. And another thing that, like every single company they have, it's data. Better data, worse data, but everyone has data and they don't know how to query it. They are struggling all the time about how to query data. I need to find for some kind of information, and it's always hard to them, right? So if I think about RAG, not about a like a strategy to tailor a lens, but about a use case. Most of the company right now, I would say 90% of the company, they are working on RAG use cases. Okay, I have a lot of document. How can I talk to my document? Of course, there are like many different challenges, especially about like permissions, because they need to ensure that like user A only has access to information in your like data set B, and is not going to like get access to any other information. So still they have like many different challenges. But this is like obvious case because like people needs to have like access to the information, and sometimes the problem is not about the information, it's not about the people, it's about like the process to make it available for everyone, right? So this is another use case, and any other use case that boosts the productivity. Let's say I have a role where I have to write a summary about the latest financial report, or I want to write a quarter business review about how the business is performing, or I need to come up with different ideas about to build a marketing campaign. So any kind of job where you have to start, one of the main problems we have is like as we say it in Spanish, the white page, right? Like we don't have anything and I need to start from the scratch. And people usually don't like to start from the scratch because we learn by imitation. So we at least we love to start by something and then we say like, okay, I have this, I'm going to work in this line or the other, right? So for this kind of situations also Gen AI it helps a lot because like it can come up with many different ideas and so on. But again, like any use case where like you have customers related things, productivity about how we can streamline your like business processes, Gen AI can be there. And I think eventually it's going to be even like farther, right? Because right now AI or Gen AI is super good with unstructured data. If you're asking me about using Gen AI, for example, to make predictions, forecasting, and so on, still not there, right? But I think we are going to see evolution as well, and like how to handle tabular data. So I think there is still, like a long way to run on this aspect. So, but yeah, those top use cases like software development and also, like rack use cases, I would say they are like top of mind for most of the customers right now.
Hmm. I totally agree. And I saw it, I mean, it's been implemented in my company, which is also, I would say, a traditional company. I mean, they are very upfront with tech. They use the latest tech and stuff like this, but it's like a very traditional old German company. So it's very impressive to see like the first use case they thought about is a copilot or like an AI assistant that is connected to all your documents that you can do search. So searching is basically the number one use case for companies after, as you said, the code assistant for developers. What I've been seeing, as you also mentioned, so there's a lot of unstructured data out there. There's so much text in the online. So a lot of companies now, for example, I talk to, they are definitely utilizing this in constructions in ways that you don't even imagine. And when I told them like, why are you starting the startup right now? And the main answers I get is because now the technology is ready to do so. So back then it was quite hard with, for example, computer vision to read maybe scans of construction and then extract some values from it. It was very manual work, not manual, but maybe not so accurate. But now we have multimodal LLMs and stuff like this, and the way to maybe ingest, I don't know, some large PDFs, and then you have some structured data. It's became super valuable, and now just like it became a rat race. Everybody is like running up to get like the maturity enough to have like a good product and then maybe sell it, or like they already have so many pilots and trying to build like a very mature product, which I find super fascinating. And now already like also in health tech, so not only construction but health tech, reducing clinical trials like to make it quicker and all this kind of stuff like is super fascinating. But in medtech, I feel like it's still, I don't hear much. I feel like traditional machine learning was been applied quite heavily in the health tech. I come from a background where we developed cancer detection algorithms. So that was like, I don't know, 7 years ago already, like with traditional CNNs, computer vision models. I wonder, do you hear anything about medtech? Does it come to the radar?
Well, I think probably like we are not like listening a lot of things, but like I know about many companies that they are working on this space. Many of these cases I cannot share because they are confidential, but I'm seeing also many of them working on this space with like amazing evolution and like doing a lot of research. The problem of this is like it's a lot of research as well, right? And it takes a bit longer, like to disclose all this research and to come up with like specific results and like how this translate into like real facts. But probably sooner than later we will still see like many different things on this space. So as I said before, I think like any sector right now is going to be impact on one way or the
Hmm.
other. But yeah, absolutely.
And it's really interesting that we are working with this technology because now everybody wants to talk to me about AI. I remember like 5 years ago, nobody wanted to say because everybody was so scared of it. And it's like, oh, AI, I don't understand anything about it. I'm not a mathematician or whatever. But now everybody's using it and it excites me because everybody wants to talk to me about it because I'm like working with it. So it's also super fascinating that now everybody's involved in this conversation. So I really appreciate that. It's something that is motivating me to do more and talk to more people and maybe write some content or whatever blogs to showcase the possibilities out there. So that's something that's really fun. Where do you see this thing going maybe in 5 years? I think it's so hard now to predict.
Yeah. I think it's starting for years, to be honest. I even struggle to see what is going to happen in the next couple of years, right? So as humans, we are not surprised anymore about like what's happening out there. It can happen like terrible things in the world, and we see the news, we see the media, and we have the vaccine, and we are not surprised anymore, right? And it's not about the AI, it's about like wars around the world, poverty. I mean, like if it's not near you, it's okay, right? And the problem is like when it's happening, like just like around the corner, right? So I think we are going to suffer or we are going to go through incredible and big transformations, not only in technology, but in the way we live, in the way we interact to each other. But it's going to get some time to get used to that. Or at least I think it's going to get some time to realize that we have transformed our lives, right? In some manner, the way we live right now, it was transformed because of the use of, internet, smartphones. I mean, like, I'm working right now with customers around the world. And if you were asking me, like, I was telling my dad, like, 15 years ago that I would be doing this from, like, exactly my desk at my home, he will tell me like, "Hey, you are kind of crazy, right?" So, and right now we see it as, like, something that it's normal, right? So what I expect to see is like AI is going to be. I don't think we will talk anymore about AI in the way that we are talking right now. AI is going to be embedded almost everywhere, like every single product, every single, like, service, every single interaction. I mean, like, the way that we are using Instagram, it will be like AI power. So we don't need to say like AI power anymore because everything is going to be powered by AI, right? So AI is going to be almost everywhere. Of course, I feel like many different jobs, it's not going to be that they will be eliminated, but it will be transformed. We are going to need different kind of professional. And this is a reality because this is happening right now. I think it's a problem if you don't know how to use AI. I mean, like, you're going to be in trouble in the next few years if you don't know how to use AI. The same way that right now you need to know Excel, you need to know PowerPoint, maybe you need to know SAP, you need to know how to use AI, which are the benefits that can bring into you. Right now, for me, LLMs, they are they are amazing, the kind of things that they can do, right? Because they can ingest huge amount of information and they can, like, process it, digest it, like, almost in less than a second, and it can come up with, like, a summary or, like, ideas, or, it can do, like, really great things, right? But this is mainly because they have been trained on, a huge amount of information. So they have seen almost everything, right? So for them, it's like, it's kind of, like, a easy thing, right? I don't think LLMs, they are intelligent. I think they are, like, far from being intelligent. And let me put an example, right? So an LLM, just to identify if what I'm seeing is a dog, needs to see thousands of images of a dog. And even when they see this, like, a funny picture with the muffin and the chocolate, they even, like, very able, like, to do a mistake, right? So that's why LLMs, they are not intelligent. As a kid, and I can tell you about, for example, about my kids, right? I have a couple of kids, right? So the youngest one, he's 16 months, right? He has seen three, four, five, six different dogs. Let's say he has seen 50 different dogs. But after seeing three or four dogs, for him, it was straightforward to see this is a dog, this is not a dog. That's intelligence. I mean, like, that's real intelligence. And LLMs, they are not intelligent. We are, like, saying all the time, yeah, they are intelligent. They are not intelligent. What is going to happen in the next few years, I wish sooner than later, but I don't know because, like, it takes a lot of money. Transformer has been a breakthrough in terms of, like, innovation research, but we are almost 2025. Transformers, they are like 2018. Something new is going to come. There is going to be an evolution of Transformer. I've been talking during this year, also, last week in Vegas with some guys that are doing a lot of research on this domain, where we'll have, like, LLMs, taking into account that they are not intelligence, they will be closer to the concept of intelligence, right? By new architectures and new approaches. So I think we are going to have, like, a big evolution there, right? Of course, agents is part of the present, it's not part of the future. I've seen customers using agents everywhere to automate a lot of, like, business processes. One of the nice things of agents is, like, you can integrate agents with, like, traditional ways of doing stuff. I mean, like, you can still define the process based on business rules, but you can use an agents to orchestrate all of them, right? So I think agents is going to be everywhere. Of course, we'll see, like, open source keep growing and so on. Humanoids, they are going to be there. China probably is going to be the one leading this race because they have more resources. They are doing it great, to be honest. So if I knew where things are going to be, I wouldn't say anything. I will just put my money there and I will try to be rich, right? So I think it's complicated, but what I can say is, like, I've met, during the last year, I've met, like, probably, like, 10, 15 founders that I think in the next few years, everyone is going to talk about that because they're, like, building really great stuff. So many things are coming. I think we are just at the beginning, right? Like any new technology, we are, like, kind of shocked, but, like, these LLMs, they are still, like, a bit, like a damp, I would say, right? So we can expect too much more.
Hmm. Yeah, and you can notice this already when you're using, for example, ChatGPT. They give you for the first couple messages like the newer version, and then you switch back to the older, and you can notice, although it's just like one version up, you're just like, oh my god, like I can't work with this. This is like too dumb compared to the one like right next to it, and then the one that next to it, and then it going like somehow like in an exponential curve, which is a little bit frightening. But as you said, people need to find a way to work with them and educate themselves. I know we're almost run out of time, but you mentioned something really interesting, and I want to really like highlight on this. You talk a lot about people needs to educate themselves, how to use AI, how to integrate it in their work. For somebody who's not a developer, for example, how do you see this happening? How can somebody educate themselves on AI and its use cases and stuff like this?
You don't need to be like a developer, right? Let's say like, like I'm working, I need to create a PowerPoint presentation, or I need just to create, like a business plan for, let's say I need to create a business plan for the next year, right? The reality is like I still have a lot of content from previous year. I know which are the trends. I know where we have the problems. So I think we need to learn how to talk to LLMs, how to define about, hey, because right now everyone is using, for example, you said like ChatGPT for almost everything, right? So this is the same like saying I'm using the same car, regardless I'm going to the sea, I'm going to the mountains, I'm going to the motorway. So I think people will need to understand how to use different models for different purposes, how to talk to these models, how to get the info that you want from this model. So I'm using it for, like my daily tasks, like, hey, I need to write a report, I need to create a business plan. I try to come up with different ideas. I try to get some summaries. Try, because even I'm not an English speaker, right? So for me, it's not the same writing in English than writing in Spanish. So I also can use these LLMs, like to enhance my, like English proficiency, to say like, okay, let's change this into this style or the other, or try to be more concise. So people needs to learn how to use this, right? So the same way like you were a photographer and you in the past you need to know how to use your like photography applications to enhance the quality of the image, you will need to learn how to use these AI applications to change how you are making pictures and so on, right? So you don't need even to be a developer. You don't need to be even a data scientist. You even don't need to understand how transformers work. I mean, like it's useless, right? I mean, like it's useless. It's useless if you are not working on this field, right? So you will need to understand, like how AI works and how to use it. Sooner than later, everyone is going to use it, right? So that's what I mean. Like everyone, like, and if they say like, no, this is not applied to me, of course I respect that, but they are in trouble, to be honest.
Mm. I totally agree with this. People just need to learn maybe how to prompt it, how to talk to it. But this comes with experimenting, But now everybody's already experimenting. So ChatGPT did, and most other model companies, they did a really good thing that they provided this for free for people to play around with, and it was kind of like educating the people before they. I just saw they put the price tag on it now, and now we're in trouble because we're addicted to it. But yeah, it's a definitely exciting way forward. Eduardo, thank you so much for this conversation, man. Like, I really appreciate having you, and I hope that we meet someday in person. I know internet enabled this conversation, but also I would love to see you in person. I wish you all the luck. And if somebody wants to get in contact with you, can you maybe mention where they can find you? Is there any
Yeah, I
conferences
mean,
coming up?
like, yeah, I think it's going to be busy for the next year, but I will put everything on LinkedIn. So, I mean, like, if everyone wants to reach out to me, LinkedIn is super easy. It's my looking for my surname, Ordax, Ordax, and again, I'm trying to reply every day. Like sometimes like it's not almost every day, but I'm replying to everyone. So it's like like very easy to reach out to me. Yeah,
Definitely, I can confirm that. All right, Eduardo, thank you so much and have a great day. Take care.
pleasure. Thank you.